Hi, Boa. Welcome to 10 Minute Talks. I'm Harshadeva.
Today, I'm honored to be joined by Anil Swarup, a former Indian Administrative Service officer whose distinguished public service career spanned nearly 4 decades. He served as a secretary to the Government of India in the Ministry of Coal and later in the Department of School Education and Literacy. He is also the author of several books explaining governance, ethical leadership, and public service, including Not Just a Civil Servant, Ethical Dilemmas of a Civil Servant, and Encounters with Politicians. Following his retirement, he founded the Nexus of Good, a movement dedicated to identifying, appreciating, replicating, and escalating positive work in society. Anil Ji, welcome to 10 Minute Talks.
Thank you, Anil Ji. Thank you very much for joining me today. My first question is, during your long career in public service, how did you create change when people resisted or opposed you? And how did you turn disagreement into an opportunity?
Initially, I committed a few mistakes trying to change people and circumstances. I very soon discovered I can neither change people nor circumstances. So I looked inwards and thought if I could change myself. And in doing that, I tried to understand the set of circumstances in which I existed. I also looked at people. So my idea was not to change them, but to understand them. And that probably is something which I have outlined in my latest book, You Can Make It Happen, where I talk about not trying to change the set of circumstances, but trying to understand the set of circumstances for a very simple reason, because the environment in which you exist is a complex one. And unless you know how the environment is and what the people are, even if you want to change anything, you won't be able to change it. So the first requirement is to understand the political reality, the social reality, the economic reality, the technological reality, the judicial reality, the administrative reality, the emotional reality, and the environmental reality. These are the realities that you have to understand before you get down to changing or making a difference. As I went along, I tried to understand that, and then accordingly, I tried to change myself. I looked inwards, and that helped me because then I could develop in a manner that I could be able to convince my political masters to agreeing to what I am saying. I've always felt you may have the greatest of ideas. If you are unable to influence the decision maker into believing in what you want to believe, those ideas will just remain ideas. So that was the first art which I tried to develop over a period of time. My skills of communication through which I'm able to convince the decision maker. In a large number of cases, it was a politician, some other cases, it was a bureaucrat. But if I didn't understand my boss correctly, I wouldn't do it. Second, what I tried to do was to understand the social reality, to understand what was good for the people around me or for the organization that I worked in. So you have to understand that organization. Third, I look at the technological feasibility of what I wanted to do. If technology did not exist, then I probably had to wait. But they were, in many cases, I found the technology was available, so I could select the right technology. Then, to begin with, there were many cases in which I didn't have the desired money. So I had always believed that an idea to fructify and sustain, there has to be money. So in a large number of cases, I demonstrated the efficacy of idea in a smaller context through a pilot. And once that happened, money started flowing in. So money then did not become a problem. Then there was this administrative reality of finding the right human resource to deliver what I had in mind. So there, over a period of time, I understood this art of team building, of getting people to do what I wanted them to do. Then, of course, judicial reality was something which is I'm still grappling with, because judiciary in India is a very unpredictable stuff. But that didn't come in the way much. Yes, they did. And the I think the most tricky part was the emotional relatability of the ideas that were in my mind, to take stakeholders on board, to try and convince them into believing that what I was trying to do for them was useful to them. Once I got them on board, then I became redundant, so to say. Systems were in place. There were stakeholders who felt what I was doing was right for them. And that is why, in a large number of cases which I tried to do, the ideas have sustained beyond my existence in that particular organization. So that's what I tried to do.
Excellent, Anil Ji. My second question is, you often talk about integrity and bringing people along with you. What does nonviolent leadership actually look like to you in practice?
See, as I said during my first presentation, I said people are what they are. There isn't much that you can do, but if you understand them properly, if you can possibly convey a value proposition to the people around you, then it starts working. It's easier said than done. I said it in half a minute, but it's difficult to understand people and convey a value proposition. This value need not necessarily be a financial value. It could be a psychological value. It could be an emotional value to be able to convey to them that this is good for them. That's the trick, and that is something which is a bit difficult, but over a period of time you tend to learn it. I had also come to understand that honesty was not only a good policy, it was a very practical policy in an ever fast changing world where technology reveals everything. I mean, you don't live anymore in ivory towers, you are there in glass houses. So there's no point in hiding anything. And once you have that, then you can use technology to bring about transparency and it helps you in delivery. So not only is honesty good, it's a very practical policy because then you don't have to wear masks. You can be what yourself, and that's the easiest thing on earth because how long and how far can you change masks? If you are honest, if you are truthful, and if you're clear headed, that's also very important. That clarity. In fact, in my second book, which is titled Ethical Dilemmas of a Civil Servant, I have tried to explain this aspect at length on how conflicted I was to begin with and how that clarity came over a period of time. And that really helped me to do what I wanted to do. Very interestingly, I held very sensitive assignments in the country. And in the second half of my career, there was nobody who came to me asking for a wrong favor, which surprises me also. Because by that time, I had developed a reputation that this guy, if it is correct, he'll do it immediately and inform you. If it is against the law, he will politely say no, will not do it. There's no point in wasting time with him.
Anil Ji, my last question is your initiative through the Nexus of Good. You promote positive example instead of focusing only on failures. How can we put this approach into practice in our everyday lives and institutions?
Again, it's not very difficult, but we don't invest much time on understanding what is good for a very simple reason. I say in India, we are very fond of spices, the masala. So we enjoy negative news. So you look at the newspaper, listen to the television, everything seems to be collapsing around. But if you try and look at good things around you, and if you try and identify good that is happening, you start discovering a lot of good is happening. And then you try and understand how is that good happening. And then you start appreciating it. That's the difficult part because we are not prone to appreciating good work around us. And once you do that, and the necessity of it is on account of the fact that if all the rascals and the ruffians of the world can come together and make life difficult for us, how about good people coming together? And once you start tasting appreciation, then you thoroughly enjoy it. Then you start appreciating a lot of good things that are around you. And once that happens, then good also grows. Good connects. And once good grows, then you get that sense of enjoyment that you can't leave it. So that's what Nexus of Good is all about. Identifying good work, understanding good work, appreciating good work, replicating good work, and scaling good work. And the other aspect of it is that being in the government, I discovered that a lot of efficiencies and good work exist in the private domain, but it can't scale. Scaling comes from the government. The tragedy is that we in the government thought everyone in the private domain is just making money, in the business of making money. And everyone in the private sector thought that every government servant is corrupt. Both are equally wrong. There are outstanding people both in the public and private domain. The tragedy is that all the bad people come together, but the good people on either side of the fence do not come together. Nexus of Good is an attempt in that direction to get the good people in all walks of life to come together, reinforce, start believing that good can be done because it is being done. It's not merely a theoretical proposition that good should be done, not a normative proposition. My contention, it's already happening. Unfortunately, we don't sufficiently notice it. Once we start noticing it,
Thank you, Anil Ji. Thank you very much for this wonderful short talk. Thank you.
God bless you. Take care.